In this section, we'll continue the story of Wilson trying to keep the United States neutral in the war. We'll carry it through 1916. Certainly by the beginning of 1916, it was becoming obvious that American efforts to mediate an end to the war were kind of going nowhere. House and Lansing were kind of jockeying against each other, and they had both of their egos. And Germany is going to preempt the entire debate anyway by announcing that its U-boats would sink without warning all merchant vessels who were armed. Now, this upset Lansing because his plan for establishing rules to govern maritime warfare had obviously not gone through, and Lansing declared in early February 1916 that the U.S. would not warn its citizens against traveling on ships that had armed for their own limited defense. News of this development provoked kind of a panic in the House of Representatives, where Democrats rushed to pass a resolution warning Americans not to travel on any armed ships. Wilson, who was still hopeful of mediating it into the war, successfully sought to have the resolution tabled. By the spring of 1916, events were moving so fast it was kind of difficult for any long-range diplomacy. On March 24, 1916, a German U-boat torpedoed an unarmed merchant ship, the Sussex, and 80 people died. Once again, Wilson, ticked off and declared an ultimatum to Germany. The United States would break diplomatic relations with Germany, which was often regarded as a prelude to war, if Germany did not renounce all warfare merchant marine ships, armed or unarmed. Once again, Wilson's ultimatum set off a debate in Germany. The German military argued for a tough response, but its civilian leadership urged compromise with the United States. On May 1st, 1916, the Kaiser ended up sort of settling the issue by issuing the Sussex Pledge. It declared that Germany would now require its subs to first surface and board merchant ships before any sinking. Once again, it appeared that Wilson's stance had caused the Germans to back down. At the end of the Sussex Pledge, however, there was also a statement that if the United States could not get Britain to observe international law concerning neutral trade, in other words, allowing Germany to trade with neutrals like the United States, then Germany reserved the right to intensify its submarine campaign further. It wasn't really noticed at the time, but this was an ominous and rather ominous addition. As tensions with Germany began to cool again in the spring of 1916, relations with Britain, however, were strained once again when the British brutally put down an insurrection in its occupied territory of Ireland during Easter. The so-called Easter Rebellion lasted 6 days and was crushed with overwhelming military might. The Irish leaders were executed. Many Americans thought the British response was excessive. In many respects, to Wilson, it seemed that Great Britain was not yet serious about true peace. Each side was hoping for some sort of military victory or to establish some military dominance before it would get serious on its diplomacy. As 1916 progressed, and after the German Sussex Pledge, Wilson was becoming increasingly annoyed with the British. This concludes this section on Wilson's efforts to keep the United States neutral through 1916.